We have another Armada today. This unit, the complaint is the center jet, which is used for encapsulation, is not working. The two outside jets, they work fine. When you're in full extraction mode, actually both the eco and the full extraction mode, they will use all three spray jets. But the center one is different than the outside ones. These are made for encapsulation. They're a smaller tip. I suggest that if you're not actually going to be using this machine for encapsulation, I've suggested to my housekeepers that they go ahead and switch over to the black tip. It's a lot larger. It's less likely to get clogged, which I find a lot of these problems are just a clogging issue. In this case, they've checked that it's clean. It's not a clogging issue. The actual inside of here, and we'll see that here in a minute, there are two solenoids. One solenoid operates the outside, and another solenoid operates the inside. Those do fail. So that's what we're going to be replacing today. What we did was we removed the screws. There's 1, 2, 3 here, 1, 2, 3 here. There's also inside of here, you have to take this little panel off and pull your water pump up and out of the way, something like this. And there are two holes down inside there. See if I can get you to see it here. There are two holes right down inside there. And then what you do is you just spin this head around, and there's two screws in there that you're going to have to remove. It releases the bottom portion from this piece here. But one thing I always forget, every single time. So I had to put these two screws here, two screws here, I put them back in so we can lift this up. Actually have to remove a nut inside there. You can remove this wheel piece here. I don't like to, because I don't find there's a really great way to do it without bending some of this plastic. So, I just remove the pressure plate for the vacuums seal, and I just basically just use a needle nose pliers and just loosen it up. After that, you can just do it by hand. Now, if I turn this the right way, make it a lot easier. So the service manual is going to tell you to remember the direction in which you take this out. It's irrelevant, in my opinion, because as long as you, I think I've said this before in another video, it's just a bolt that comes out there. And you see how it's not a perfect circle, it's actually a lined piece on this side here. So it really technically can go in only one way unless you force it. Now, one thing you do have to be careful of is there's two sets of wires in here. So you've got one to the heat sensor, the thermistor, and you've got one to the motor itself. Usually I can get them off with one hand, so it's not too bad. Yeah, just like that. Now, since we've removed all the weight from the front, you do have to be careful because it will just tip over. I usually transistor or something like rock or stone, anything, just to kind of keep it tipping all the way back. Let's see if you can see what we're looking at here. Yeah, hold on a second. All right, there we go. So there's your two solenoids. So all we need to do is remove a couple pieces here. This guard has one screw, it's just going to come right off. And it's going to be grounded, so we don't really need to take that apart yet. I don't think so. Fun part is trying to get all these. All right, so I always get confused with which one is which sometimes. So you just follow the line here. Two jets here have a gray connection and it goes to the blue. So the blue is on this side here. Red goes up and around right to the center jet. So this one should be our problem piece. Now, another way you could do this, you could test this. So you can put an, oh, well, that just fell straight out. Ooh, that's interesting. You can do an ohm test to find out whether or not this is working. They should be, I'll have to look it up. Let me get the paperwork. Okay, there we go. According to our service manual, see if I'm looking at this right. We got the thermistor, water pump, solenoid. Solenoid, where are we at here? So the solenoid valves operate at 120 volts. The core resistance should be 190 to 250 ohms. So let's give it a shot. Okie dokie. So got my meter set to the ohms setting. Let's see if I can squeeze these in here. We have got fluctuating, but it's about 70 ohms. So we're definitely below the range of where we need to be. While we're at it, we'll check the other one. It's funny, the other one actually looks like there's a lot more physical, I don't want to say damage, but like water damage to that side. Come on. Okay, so I don't know if you can see it, but this one's giving us 188. So that's still within definitely the range where we want. So it's a good one. All right, let's just take this thing off. Got 2 screws in here. You know, the service manual for this has been super handy if you can get a hold of it. I actually used to do this, and I didn't realize that this bottom piece actually came off. Okie dokie, where are we at? Right there. Okay, so I don't know, I think sometimes these come off a little easier if you got the right setup. Press that in, pull it out. See, look at how easy that was. That was easy. After you got it kind of away there. Come on, get out of there. Here's the last one, trying to be difficult here. That one, I just need to get this one out. There we go. Okay, so now we're loosened up. Now you can take that off if you want, and sometimes I usually do, but it's not necessary. Because what we need to do is we need to disassemble these 4 screws. So we can just leave that as it is. There we go. All right, so that's what we need to get. You guys remember which one we're supposed to be doing? Just kidding, I know it's this one. All right, so we just need to remove this. My carpet extractor is making a mess. Still dripping over here. I'm always paranoid. You gotta be very careful because this this threaded piece here is plastic and it's going into metal. So snug is the key. No need to over tighten. Just realized, so this repair I didn't order parts for. I'll try to keep some in stock. I didn't bother to check if I had this today. That'd be a bummer. Yay, we're in business, ladies and gentlemen. That's the part we're replacing today. Okay. Basically just reverse that process. Don't know why these are always so, like, this one here is like really tight, barely wants to move. And all these newer ones that are coming in got so much play in that. And I've tried to tighten this down, but it won't go any further usually. Okay. Definitely don't want to cross thread these. So then you'll be replacing that gray piece there. Remember, snug. Okay. Do our other side here. Feels good. All right. Let's put it back on our plate. Oh, I lost the screw, but that's okay. It's not going to kill us. This piece is a little more tricky to get back into place because if you don't have your wires lined up in, correctly in the right fashion, you want to make sure that they're exactly the way they came off, not because of any wiring issues, but because it pinches the way that that plate sits on top of that plastic. So if you have a hose in the wrong place, then this little plate that the solenoid sit on top of doesn't sit correctly. So making sure all this is on top and not underneath, and you gotta make sure that the correct one, which is the green one here, and the yellow line that goes across here does have to be underneath it. So just making sure all the wires are where they need to be before I hook these hoses back in. That's not supposed to be there. Actually, it is. So this is going to be another problem, and I'll fix off camera. But so this is an old model. The old models had a lot of problems with water getting into places they're not supposed to. One of the design flaws of this early on was this piece here. So these connectors here are not waterproof. They're just generic electrical connectors. And they have these types all through the machine where the water also, it's not supposed to be there, but it gets there. And then you have shorting issues. Our machines, per safety protocol, we change the plug-in that goes into the wall in their GFCIs. We do it for safety concerns because anytime you work with water, it is very safe. We've had quite a few of them trip while using this machine, and that's kind of what helped us really diagnose what was going on. Then, of course, when you tear apart the machine and you see the white chalky film that's associated with the water here, it's pretty clear where the water is getting to. So what they done was they went back and they changed it, and now these are your waterproof connectors now. So these are nice. This is what should have been done at the very beginning. But unfortunately, so this one has the waterproof connection, and the old style has this connector. So I'm going to have to change them. So I'm going to do that off camera, and we'll be back. All right, thermistor and motor. There we go. Come on. This one's a little tighter. Okay. Now, try this again. Kind of a feeling game to it. All right, let's try something else here. Oh, hey. There we go. Dropped in. All right. It's off just a hair. Now to the other two, it's right below the water pump. Okay, now while we got this out, since we've been moving this thing back and forth quite a bit, let's just make sure these lines are in there nice and tight. Because as you can see, there's a lot of water that gets inside there. Not supposed to, but it does. So all we're doing is we are spinning this head until that screw hole actually lines up. Okay, there's one more. So we'll lift up again and we'll spin that to the same spot. As soon as I get this screwed in, we'll just go ahead and flip this back over, drop it in. Now, there's 4 little grommet holes down here that go inside the grommet legs. So we're just gonna, I mean, it's not easy, unfortunately. Sometimes your wires are getting in your way, and then your hoses are getting in your way. Pull it out so that the hose doesn't stay underneath there. All the while you're trying to, like, it doesn't exactly fit just right. They do make those little grommet pegs with a white top so you can theoretically see them a lot easier. Okay, yeah, there we go, it falls down. And if, oh shoot, see the wiring's got to be down inside there. On the top. I'm gonna get down in there. Okay, so if you ever, but when we put the plate on, if it doesn't, like, it's not supposed to fit flush, but if it's bowed up really bad, it means this still isn't sitting right. So, hey, look at this. We have 3 screws left, which is exactly what we need. We still have to put on our nut for that pressure switch there. Yep, so that should, I mean, it'll move a little bit, but if it's bowing up a little bit too much, then you'll need to reset that water pump so that the feet are in the correct position. All right, nearly done. All right, see if I can do this without hitting this camera here. All right, I'm gonna put, whoops. Let's see what happens if I put the right one on there first. All right, so just gonna slide this up in the hole, and then we just got, actually I got that right the first time. See how it doesn't move if you put it in the groove right. So if you put it this way, you can tell it's not sitting in there right, but as soon as we get it in the right spot, it goes right in. Alrighty, got a little lock washer. Let me give this a little WD-40 squirt. And it's not doing a whole lot of work, so it doesn't have to be torqued on there extremely tight. So I'll just get a good crank there. That's good. That'll be it. Okay, I think that's it. Let me just double check. Drop this down. I'm gonna put the vacuum shoe back on. All right, remember, this is one of the things I'll tell people too. If it doesn't go on easy, it means something's not lined up correct. So it should go on. There we go. See, the plate that this thing sits on is sitting crooked. Hook our vacuum hose back up. And shove that spring up there. Come on, man. It's always the second one that's always kind of tough. There you go. Okay. So again, one of the little tricks is if you're only using this thing for carpet extraction, I would just go over to the black tips on all three of those. There we go. We're done. It's not too terribly difficult, but I used to do this the hard way, so a lot less bloody knuckles this time. All right, we'll catch you next time.